right, welcome to HogCast 2018 with my boys Raymond House and Gerald Howard. We're here getting ready to start up for the season. We're kind of going to go little quarterlies, probably 3 or 4 games before we kind of come back and have these little conversations about Razorback football. I know it's probably been a stressful 2 weeks, so let's just kind of go ahead and get into it. Coming off a brutal loss to North Texas. A lot of boos, a lot of upset fans, a lot of why isn't Ty Story playing, but a 44-17 loss. Why don't I just get your guys' first thoughts on that? So go ahead.
Well, is this going to start with me?
Yeah, just scorched earth if you need to.
So disappointed, obviously. That would be the first thing that I would say. Slightly shocked, but not really. And my expectations were low for this season. But even with that, it looks like I'm going to have to lower my expectations from where they were already before. This team is definitely struggling to figure out how to be successful. I mean, not even success, how to execute what they're trying to do within the game plan, both offensively and defensively. It definitely is it was tough to watch. It's tough to watch, and a lot of places where you can poke holes in it. So I don't know, G, what you think?
Coming into this season, I wasn't shocked that we lost to Colorado State. I had that as a toss-up game anyway.
Just because it was on the road?
I was more shocked how we lost.
Okay.
I didn't see North Texas coming. I knew they'd be a good ball club. A lot of people say they're 8, 9, maybe 10-win team this year. But I did not see getting thumped by North Texas. I figured we'd be 2-1 at this point, maybe, with the loss to Colorado State on the road.
I mean, Colorado State, they had a transfer quarterback, Carter Samuels. I think he started at Vanderbilt and then Washington or something like that. Ended up at Colorado State. So I think he kind of knew it was going to be a tough game going out there dealing with altitude. But to me, altitude is just an excuse. That's just my thing. You think it's well? You played NFL football too, and I'm assuming you played in Denver.
It makes a difference.
Okay.
I would say that,
okay.
You breathing for air, but again, that you prepare for those things, and if you take your preparation seriously, it's less of a shock to the system. And I don't know if even when you listen to player interviews going into that week. And they were like, "Oh, we got altitude here." I was like, "No, that is a difference. It's a total."
I felt the difference even when we played in the Vegas Bowl.
Oh yeah, absolutely. 1,000 feet above sea level and 3,000 feet above sea level are strikingly different. But even still, that's just only a portion of the game. They had that game. They had that game in hand, in control, third quarter, and I honestly think
27-9.
Yeah, complacency set in, and then we thought we were going to hit cruise control.
But is that not this team? I think Brett Bielema's team showed up.
Oh, come on now.
Wow.
Oh, come on now.
That team traditionally didn't deal with adversity or they didn't deal with being in front well.
See, my thing with that is you talk about putting the hammer down, putting it in the left lane, and then 27-9. Yeah, and look, I don't know how you guys felt about the 4th and 1, and we're already skipping over Eastern Illinois. I think we'll all agree on that. We know that was a JV team they got to play. Yeah. So sorry if you wanted to hear some good stuff about Eastern Illinois, about how well Ty Story played and everything, but
we can get to it.
We can get there in a little bit. But really, I mean, 27-9. What did you guys think of the 4th and 1? I get why they punted. But to me, if you're trying to change the culture and change, who we are as Arkansas football, putting the left lane and all that stuff, I'm going to give because everybody knows here I was a Bielema guy. I liked Bielema. I went to Wisconsin. I knew what he was about. I knew what type of program he was going to run. Yeah. But I can kind of see why people were fed up, obviously, getting tired of, going back to Virginia Tech, losing the bowl game, and not being able to ever consistently to hold on to a lead. But it was much of the same again. You ran the ball 200 yards probably at that point, and then you started slinging it around the yard. But let me get back to that 4th and 1. What would you guys have liked to see on that 4th and 1 before punting it back to them for that final possession?
I would have liked to see him go for it. Now, again, that doesn't make what his decision as egregious. I just felt like the way we were moving the ball on the ground and showing that we had, plus looking at the situation with who your quarterback was at that time with Cole Kelly, and you can almost guarantee he can fall forward and get you 1.5 yards without even thinking twice about it. But again, that was just one play in the game. It definitely was a turning point, but there were so many other things just beside that one play.
Okay, let's hear what we got.
That were detriment to that for that particular game. And you think about just the same thing. I mean, you think about the instances of of ball security, right, and then the inconsistency within the passing game. We were still giving up pretty big plays on the other side of the ball defensively.
Sure,
that you still find yourself in that situation, giving up those chunk plays. A game is not won and lost with just one play.
Right. So
defense, it's always a culmination of things.
So let's get to defensively before we get to the offense. But defensively, what have you seen? Have you seen anything different from last year to this year? I mean, we've we're all excited about getting Chief in here, and he was going to bring some pressure and this, that, and the other thing. But again, 27-9 can't hold on to a lead, and then not to mention yesterday.
Well, here's the thing: I know some people are disappointed with our defensive performance, and I'm disappointed with the team performance as a whole, and not
just one side or the other.
Winning games.
Sure.
Here's the thing: I look at good defense much differently than now than I did may have 10, 15 years ago because of all the changes in the rules and the nature of the game and the pressures that offenses can put on you.
RPOs.
There's so many different things. So if we give up 20, 25 points and we give up 350 yards, that's really not that bad of a deal.
Mm-hmm.
In today's
sure.
game. Well, I mean, I'd like to see a little bit less than 20 or 25. I mean, less than 20 would be good, but less than 20 points should be able to win your game. This defense, like I said, hasn't. There are instances where I don't like the big plays, right? I think you're going to give up some, but it can't be 15, 16 yards of 15, 16 plays of 15 or more yards in a game.
And that may be an absent of Dre, too. Yeah, Dre being out.
There are some pieces.
Yeah.
There are some pieces that are missing. You think about him, the impact of him.
I mean, 10 tackles against Eastern Illinois by, the first quarter or halftime or something like that?
You think the same situation with Randy Ramsey, right? Who played but was not 100%. He did not look 100% to me. He still looked like he was just trying to just give it a whirl. I think he was still a step slow. As to from where I knew and expected him to be going into the season. So
let me ask you this from an X's and O's standpoint. Did you guys? I'm assuming you guys both went through some type of offensive coordinator change, defensive coordinator change in your time here. Did you have a different defensive?
Yes.
So tell me how difficult is it to get from? I mean, explain who was your defensive coordinator to your new one, and what conceptually what's different? Why does it take some time to get into it? Looks, whatever.
We had 4 different defensive coordinators while I was here.
Okay.
Now the reason that it wasn't as big of a ripple effect is because philosophically speaking, they were similar.
Okay.
Their approach and their method, right, and their style was definitely different, but we still kind of ran a 4-2-5 multiple with different fronts and did a lot of moving around. Kind of leaned and took advantage of being slightly undersized but explosive and could move faster. That was always the consistent piece of it. And it was always just some tweaks.
Just maybe a few verbiage a little bit different.
The changes that they've made, the 3 defensive coordinators over the past 3 years, and then the offensive shift. Just talking about both of them was strikingly different.
Sure.
Totally different in every instance.
And not to mention going 4-3, 3-4, back to 4-3.
Yeah. You're in a hodgepodge, and
sure.
That not only does that hinder your success immediately, that also hinders your development as you move on. Because you think about these young guys that you may have been trying to bring on. Now what am I doing? I still don't know. I still don't understand. Which is why you have to make it simple, and you have to put guys in a position. Early on, it's a lot less about the X's and O's because you have to make it so simple. It's about the players that you have within them, and they don't have. I don't honestly believe that they have the players that they need, the type of players that they need to do the things that they're asking, do things that they're asking for right now.
Okay. So offensively, what do you say?
You're going back to your initial we had two different offensive coordinators, but the head coach stayed the same. So kind of
Correct.
to the same effect that how the philosophy, because that offensive coordinator is adapting what he does to that head coach's philosophy. So terminology stayed the same, except for some small nuance. I think offensively, what Morris is trying to do, he doesn't have the horses to run what the race he wants to run.
And I can completely agree with that. I mean, you go from Bielema, who's very run oriented, get the big boys in here, and obviously missed on quite a few recruits at the same time. But going to a spread offense, probably a little bit more relying on a quarterback being able to move, being able to read those RPOs. And I mean, they've even said in multiple interviews, we took some reads out of the RPOs to make it a little bit more simple for the quarterbacks. So we'll get to quarterbacks. So quarterback wise, so Ty Story lights it up game 1. Don't see him game 2. Don't see him game 3. 2 struggled.
Yes.
Let me take that back. Struggled in game 2. You bring in Cole Kelly. He gets, he's got. I would say Cole Kelly's got the superior arm, and it's not even comparable. Would you agree with that?
Arm strength.
Arm strength.
We're not talking about
the lollipops that you saw deep balls this week. Yeah.
He has the stronger arm.
Okay.
I think.
Ty Story, I
For
think,
his weight.
conceptually gets the offense probably a little bit better, but I don't think he has the arm to be able to be successful in what they're trying to do. I would like to see the freshman at this point.
Well, yeah, I think I'm gonna defer to the former quarterback on the mic before to
Okay.
make comments here first, and I'll come up and bring it over
Okay.
on that one.
We got quarterback.
Where I am confused is we spent spring 2 days
Splitting reps.
splitting reps, however they were split. He didn't start. We're talking story. He didn't start game 1. Starts game 2 to not get a rep, 1 snap in game 3. I'm just lost at what has happened, what has transpired, why.
From a coaching decision-making standpoint, that's where your confusion is, though, correct?
Yes.
So what you're saying is
And
that
that's saying injuries, too.
Yeah.
We don't know
No
if he's hurt or nothing.
No injuries. How do you go from first string? You're basically the backup on paper to a third string, fourth string. You're basically fifth string.
Yeah, because even when you brought the freshman in, unless they were just at this point, let's just see what they got. It's pointless to
Was it as
pull
simple
Ty
as
out.
he was late to a meeting, and then I don't know, but how does he not get 1 snap as bad as things looked yesterday?
I have no idea.
Let's come back to you. You think about the original question that the play at the position has been inconsistent, to say the least. Right? I mean, that's what we're faced with. Is that there's not the consistency that is needed to maintain success throughout a game, and they're trying to figure out who can be most consistent and who can at least put the team in the best position to win. I don't think they know that right now. They thought they knew. Obviously, it hasn't worked out. We're looking at 1 and 2 at this point, but the consistency at that position is not where it needs to be. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I would question whether or not right now the quarterback that they need to do what they're asking is even on campus at all at this point.
I mean, you recruiting wise, you got KJ Jefferson coming next year.
We do not have what he needs on campus.
Okay.
And that
Even with what you got, like John Stephen Jones or Connor Nolan, or do you think they're just? It's hard to say.
It's tough to say right now. We're
to
on
be fair
3
to
games.
them, I haven't seen a lot of them. It
Yeah,
would be hard to say.
yeah.
But out of the 2 we thought, I know though that's not.
So let me ask you this: move on from them 2 at this point.
I think he has to make that call at some point. If you got to start, if we're losing to North Texas and Colorado State, and we're talking about struggling,
44-17, folks. 44-17 to North Texas.
Yeah. Yes.
This year's a wash. I got to get ready for that.
I got to see what I got.
When do you make that call?
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously it's got to be sooner rather than later,
Yeah.
and he knows and understand the impatience of the foundation. He knows and understands. He being Coach Morris, I think he knows now the impatience of the foundation and the impatience of the fan base, and there's going to be a lot of pressure for him to make some tough decisions, especially at the most vital position, with him being an offensive-minded guy at the most vital position of his offense. And it's tough. But here's the thing: it's so easy to make these statements from the outside looking in.
Sure.
Right? And
Absolutely.
So all of us being a part of college programs know and understand that there are a lot of intricacies. There's a lot of variables that are part of what it takes to prepare for competition.
Right.
And there'll be a lot of different things that are going on that we don't know about. It's just all we can focus on is what is produced out there on the field, right? So
just my takeaways. We've struggled at the quarterback position, but our offensive line is also struggling. So you're putting young guys behind that. They're not gonna look like $1 million.
And what you got on the horizon: Auburn, A&M, Alabama.
Yes.
and we all know playing in the SEC, the biggest difference is what happens in those trenches.
Up front.
Yeah, I mean, just the size and the speed and the aggressiveness and the consistency, and especially with your better teams that have depth at those positions to where, you're 2-3 deep in it and there's no drop off. And that's, which is what we have to deal with when you talk about, well, I mean, how many ranked, top 10 teams we got coming up in
ridiculous.
The next few weeks.
How many rush yards did we have against North Texas?
Against North Texas.
So I think it was over 100 yards, but that included the almost 70 yard
126
strike. So you think about what we're looking at is that you look at game 1 and game 3. Realistically, you take away one rush, probably averaging less than 3 yards a carry as far as the run game is concerned.
So 126 yesterday with 3.9 yard average. When you're talking about Colorado State, which we all know was a little, I guess I wouldn't say an anomaly around that, but 299 yards on 53 rush attempts, so averaging about 5.6. And then you go back to Eastern Illinois, where we did nothing.
Less than 3 yards.
Yeah.
I have been speechless for quite some time, and there's disappointment and there's different places to kind of point the fingers at. But again, when I reverse back to looking at this season before it started, and when you say it out loud, right? When you say drastic, and I mean drastic change as far as offensive philosophy is concerned. When you say third defensive coordinator in as many years with a major shift as far as that philosophy is concerned. All of this centered around a team that wasn't really good before all of this change happened. You mixed the change in. I didn't really have a lot of high expectations of a lot of success in this year at all, right? Even with that being said, these games that we lost were games that I felt like we should have won. Still, even all of those things considered, just because of the type of athlete that you bring in here and just being able to, from a coaching perspective, you would think be able to put the pieces in the right place and be able to motivate your way through to even these games, if not anything else. And that's not the case, too. So, I mean, again, going back to what I said earlier, my expectations were low, but almost at this point you got to lower them even more, and just to be realistic. So
you're talking 2 wins, low.
I don't know. I have no.
So let me run it through to you.
And that's tough to say.
That was going to be my next question, anyways, because I think at quarterback, I mean, we're talking about making a change, right? When's the good time to do it? I'm not sure if the next few weeks are a good time to do it with freshmen at Auburn, who's going to be pissed.
We were talking about going to the conference, not knowing
who your quarterback.
Who you going to go with?
Yeah, and you're talking about going at Auburn, A&M in Jerry World, Arkansas at home, or Alabama at home, and when's a good time to do that? But anyway, I mean, we're talking 1 and 2 right now at the end of week 3. You got at Auburn. I'm going to say probably not. I don't even want to know what that score is going to be because everybody knows they're going to be angry off the LSU loss yesterday. A&M, Kellen Mond looked pretty good against Clemson.
Clemson, he did.
Looked pretty good, and I believe they won pretty handily yesterday. Alabama, I don't think I need to elaborate much on Alabama. Ole Miss at home. I mean, 62-7 lost to Alabama yesterday. They may be sputtering just as much as we are, but I mean that's 2 weeks out. They may get some things ironed out at that point where we don't even know who our quarterback is going to be quite yet. Tulsa at home. Maybe potential to get one there. They did lose yesterday to Arkansas State, so that's going to spark up that ASU Arkansas conversation.
I'm
I'm
tell you
sure.
right now, this is not. I would not want to see Arkansas State this year.
No.
That
They-
would never happen.
Yeah, and being a guy from Iowa and having Iowa State, I would tell you, and I don't care what Hunter Yurchek wants to do, don't ever open that door, because if you open that door of playing Arkansas State, at that point you guys are, Arkansas is the pro team, is what I would say. If you open that door and Arkansas State gets a couple W's, you start splitting recruits a little bit more than you probably ever wanted to. I would never open that door, and that's I'll get off that little thing.
Yeah.
Vanderbilt at home, almost took Notre Dame yesterday. LSU, probably not. At Mississippi State, probably not. At Missouri, probably not. So you're literally talking about Tulsa and Ole Miss and Vanderbilt. I think that's the next 3-game stretch where there may be a potential for a W. I know there's the off chance that you get an upset here or there, but I'm not seeing it right now.
Your thoughts, Gerald?
He had 4 wins this year. He has passed my bar,
Okay.
my reset bar.
Your reset bar? What was it originally? 6?
I was thinking 5.
5? Okay. What were you thinking? Because we didn't do a preseason show, so what were you thinking before?
Well, originally, my number for this year was 5. Give or take a game in there. Right?
Yeah, I took 4, and it would have just been the non-conference
And
games.
so, because my thought was non-conference plus Vanderbilt.
Yeah.
With that, those were the instances where you had some chances to win.
Shermer looks pretty good for
And
Vandy.
it's here's the thing. The way I see it, if we don't change something, we will be hard pressed to get another win for the rest of the year. Period. Tulsa included, because of the things that they do and how we've had a tough time defending it, and the things that that they do the things that we can't do offensively. Right? I mean, I don't know. I don't know if we look like we could. There are some of those plays. I don't know if we were able to execute on air, regardless of whether there was deep. I mean, there's just the quarterback wide receiver relationship being as apparently off as it is. Right? They just looked out of sync consistently. Right? And you didn't look like you had a whole lot of protection as far as that pocket was concerned. It's just tough to imagine that this coaching staff would see this and not try to make some specific drastic changes to try to have some form of success some way, somehow.
For me, we say 4 wins. To me, that means he turns something around. He figures something out. If he gets 2, from these 3 games, game 2 and game 3, we did not have the best athlete on the field, or Colorado State's quarterback and the receiver.
The transfer.
Yeah.
The transfer from Tennessee.
Yeah.
On the field.
Yes.
And then Fine, and they had the cornerback for North Texas that looked pretty good. They had a couple of athletes and the DN, I think. But when we're coming to games against so-called lower tier schools and we don't have the best athletes on the field,
we're in trouble.
We gotta
While playing in the SEC West.
We're at the point now where people are message boarding for us to leave. We're the stepchild.
You're the Vanderbilt of the East.
The West.
Of the
the
West.
West.
Yeah, sorry,
But
excuse me.
You think about it. We gave up 5 sacks and 6 picks to North Texas.
You don't beat anybody with that.
No.
Yeah, you won't beat. It doesn't matter who you play. When you made those type of mistakes, your chances are next to none. So.
Well, we're going to go ahead and kick it over to a break. I appreciate you guys sitting in with me. We'll be back in a little bit. back to HogCast. Still here with Gerald Howard and Raymond House. We were kind of in the middle of the break getting into some quarterback analysis, so I'm just going to go over and kick it over to G here for a second.
Think about this. As a starting quarterback backup, or the backup to the backup.
Yeah, want to be quarterback. That was me.
Just picture this whole. I think people lose this. We had some booing going on, but I'm not saying play didn't deserve some remarks. But just think about this, especially from a backup standpoint. You're sitting on the sideline. You're about to go into, let's say, Jordan-Hare Stadium. 80,000, 90,000 people.
Which they are. That's going to happen.
You've probably gotten 20 snaps with the first team in the last week, maybe. You're not only thinking, I got to get the play right. I got to get the snap. First of all, just let me get the snap. Now I'm thinking about snap.
Well, let's get some background. What were you, third stringer?
At one point, I was backup.
Backup. Okay, so from this, backup, Gerald Howard, Arkansas quarterback, perspective on what's going on in his brain prior to actually taking the snap.
I had a package. It was called 21 Speed at the time.
Okay.
This is pre-Wildcat. We had a package called 21 Speed. Had the little motion, but in my mind, you're thinking, okay, let me get this snap. Is it on one? Is it on two? Now I'm looking at my reads. Oh, not let alone do I have to send somebody in motion. Then the defense shift. You got the crowd going crazy. The defensive lineman like House is no telling what he's telling you. I'm gonna rip your head off, freshman. Then you've got the seniors on the line or juniors. You've got all these things going. We haven't even gotten into, oh, my girlfriend didn't answer the phone, or did I talk to my mom? All
I got a test, yeah.
Life, right?
Yep.
So we're just talking about being on the field. Can you get the snap first? Now I got to go through my reads, my progressions. We're talking about a run-pass offense. So at all times, he's probably trying to implement options. But I think we have to move away from that and say, we're running, we're passing, or we're going to run and pass. You have one or two options. At this point, you can't ask, especially a guy who this time last year was getting ready for his homecoming dance. There's a very select few guys that can come in and be ready to go. I think now as Hal said, we got to simplify. And if we can find 5 to 10 plays we can run and execute, and we can dress those up and make them look whatever way we can, let's go.
So let me pose this to both of you. Do you go to the freshman quarterback this game, Auburn, Jordan-Hare? Or do you tough it out, see what you got, continue with Cole in my opinion, I go back to John L. Smith, and we talked about this a little bit off air. Brandon Allen, 55-0 at home against Alabama. But you were better for it. In the long run.
Yeah,
in the long run. Better for it.
Okay.
So, granted, you were at home. That was his first start because I think Tyler was hurt. I think that was when he got hurt at UL Monroe, and then it came into the Alabama game. I think you're better for it and I know it's on the road. Better for it to start either true fresh. I would go with Connor Nolan. That's one you've been hearing all along. But I would almost split it with both of them. Say, what you got, boys?
Go ahead, G, because I know you got. Go ahead.
I think you know what you get from them.
To make that call to me, you're saying, I want to be better week 8, week 9, week 10.
I agree.
I give up week 4, week 5 to maybe get a win later with one of these young pups.
I don't think you get a win in the next 3 games, so you might as well take the training wheels off.
Are they ready for that fire, though, also?
No.
Probably not.
No.
Probably not.
Because I think you also run the risk. If I'm Chad Morris and I'm saying I don't have a quarterback on campus, so neither one of these guys will probably be my starter next year or the year after. That's one thing. But if you think one of these guys could possibly, freshman, could run your team, you also run the risk of damaging them, their confidence, injuries.
We talked about the O-line, yeah.
Yeah, with the O-line that can't protect them.
Right.
That would be my worry.
And just kind of deterring their confidence just because. And I can see that.
It's hard once you get on that side of things as a QB or in any sport it's a mental game to come back and say, because he may be forever on skates after this year.
Right, but what we talked about previous was you kind of have a 3-week window to get some wins, and you said it yourself. Am I looking to get better week 8, 9, 10, whatever?
Right.
And if I'm sticking them in there, these next 3 games, that's what I'm playing towards.
You're thinking put them in the fire now.
Put them in the fire
so
now.
Tulsa's
yeah. Tulsa.
Game slows
Well,
down a
I
little
shouldn't
bit.
say Tulsa's nothing because we probably, in some way, shape, or form, thought North Texas was.
But
or
you would
Colorado
figure
State.
You'd see Auburn, A&M, Alabama, Tulsa. There should be a drop off.
Sometime, but
where
yeah.
the game should slow down.
Right.
That's your philosophy. That's what you're thinking.
House?
Going to the freshman, to me, is a sign of desperation.
Wouldn't you say they are, though?
But again, the old saying, desperate times calls for desperate measures. And this very much so could be described as desperate times when you get blown out.
And you get booed.
At home in non-conference against a group of 5 team. Now, let's not take anything away from North Texas. They probably will contend and could possibly win the Conference USA Championship this year.
Absolutely.
Right? Which is, and parity within football is a lot more dispersed than it has been before, right? You got a lot with transfer rules, and you got a lot of different good players in a lot of different places. But even still, all those things being considered, I guess we are in the situation where we are at a point 3 weeks in, only 3 games in, looking at desperate times. And not necessarily just because of the losses, but the manner in which we lose and how we look when we lose. I mean, it just there's we're not in sync and not on the same page on offense at every group, and defensively, we're struggling with closing things out and preventing the long plays. So the quarterback change at the quarterback position is one of those things that it's probably one of those points of desperation that we
have a running back that we say this is our guy.
I think that's Devwah Whaley. I think he's the guy. I mean, he will continue to be the starter. I mean, because here's the thing: it's not like these other guys are not getting snaps and getting reps in there. I mean, it's just we don't run the ball a lot. 2 out of 3 games, obviously, all things considered, and we're not successful when we do. And so, going into this season, I felt like the running back position was a strength of the team. When you look at guys like Devwah Whaley and Chase Hayden and T.J. Hammonds and and then all the rest of the plethora of guys that were kind of coming in, and you got some of the newer faces and the younger faces like Rakeem Boyd and Lee Williams, we know who did score on a touchdown late on. You look at that situation, and in my mind, it's like, boy, that's where your most competition is. That's where a lot of your talent is. But it's just not maturating into any round game success with all the other things considered. I mean, teams could literally just put 8 in the box, go man-to-man coverage on the outside. We don't think you can throw and catch better than we can cover. And if you do, we'll spot it to you because you can't do anything else. You won't run against us, and you'll struggle to pass against us with or without us. Then that's how teams are going to choose to defend us moving forward because of what we've shown so far.
And don't get me wrong, I don't think he's going to stick the freshman in next week. I just don't think he's going to do that.
I think he will.
You think he will?
I think he will. I don't know. Nothing about this game. I mean, about the way things have transpired coming out of this game. Cole Kelly's play, along with the fact that you didn't play Ty Story at all, leads me to believe that one player hasn't performed consistently enough. Another one you don't believe in anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Not on this level, but my freshman year in high school, I played varsity quarterback. Started 7 games. If I am one of those freshmen, if you're going to play me, I want to get the reps starting. If they do Monday practice, give me first team reps Monday.
Yeah, they'll be Tuesday.
Let me know.
Yeah, because
I'm the guy.
Yeah, Because
If I throw 3 picks, I need to know. I need to get the reps starting Monday. I want to know you. Give it to me.
I believe, because if I'm not mistaken, they actually are probably filming workout today.
Yeah.
With tomorrow being the off day, and then Tuesday, Wednesday being their work days.
Well, I want the film today. Come Tuesday, I want to be running first team. I don't want to run second team. If there's a chance, I'm going to run 2/3 of the game. I'm gonna run with first. I know they do a lot of gun. I want to be with the first team center. I want the receivers. I want to
as so it should be.
I want to hand the ball. I want to be that guy.
Yeah, and that as so it should be. But but who knows how they're going to prepare for the week coming up and what they're going to do. I think you will see a Connor Nolan again, especially with the new red shirt rules, and they can play 4 games with it and still get a red shirt. And it's not even that big.
Some mobility that will help.
That the other 2 did not have.
They don't have, and I know that's what he's
looking for.
He's looking for
KJ Jefferson.
Or if we had, I hate to say this, if we had Fine, he could do a little bit more of what he wants to do.
Yeah. And, the one thing I heard this week, and I'm going to quote Mike Irwin. He goes, just hope that Jalen Hurts only plays his 4 games so he can get his red shirt. And he told all Arkansas fans just to be showing him the love the entire year. Mm-hmm. See if you get Jalen Hurts.
That could be a real thing because he's. Yeah.
PO'd. No, completely off topic, but I just thought that was funny.
Yeah. It's a quarterback situation.
Yeah. But I mean, to me, I don't think he'll go start. I don't think he'll start a freshman. I think you'll see one play.
Cole starts.
I think Cole start.
Connor.
I think Connor would need to be the one, just based off of who came out first this week.
I don't think Cole Kelly starts this week coming off of a 4 interception performance.
So who starts?
Connor Nolan starts.
Yes, I think so.
So you're going straight?
I don't like it.
Okay.
But
Connor Nolan starts with your backup.
I don't know.
Story?
Maybe not.
Let's go all the way back to spring. The most alarming thing about this whole thing is that it took you all the way to this point to realize you didn't have one.
So that's not really alarming to me.
It wasn't?
It was not alarming to me.
Well, I mean, having Cole Kelly start 4 games last year? I think it was 4 games.
It was a handful, yeah.
But how do you not, as the starting quarterback, having 4 games in your back pocket, how do you not take the reins at that point?
Because it's an entirely different regime. It's a entirely different offense.
Okay.
I mean, the expectations, it was a clean slate because the expectations have to be different because you're asking them to do different things.
Different playbook.
With different players. I was not surprised that they didn't name a starter until the fall. All right. And here's the thing. Projecting out, they may not name a starter for fall 2019 until the fall of 2019.
Probably not.
It's just unless we see something totally different from somebody else, right? I mean, because in the grand schemes, there's only 2 things you can do here. You can either change what you ask these players to do, or you change who you ask to do, right? Those are just 2 things, right? Am I going to tell you to do something different, or am I going to ask somebody else different to do it? And that's all you're going to change, and that's why you see those are the shifts that you start seeing to be made right now because this coaching staff does not have the confidence, in a single player at certain positions especially the quarterback, to do what they want to do, and that's a tough pill to swallow. But that's where we are. We are at the point where the transition coming out of what was probably mediocrity as far as Arkansas football was concerned has made this mix of something that has turned really, really bad for us right now.
Mm-hmm. So one name who starts Saturday.
Connor Nolan at quarterback. Connor Nolan, yes.
G.
Connor.
I'm gonna stick with Cole. I just don't think he'll stick the freshman in to start. I think you'll see Connor, but I just have that feeling he's gonna stick there. But
in that case, why wait?
And I brought up the whole Brandon Allen thing. I know.
Yeah.
But I just think on the road, first start, freshman. Heck, he's rotated him all season. Why not rotate him one more week?
Like I said, if I'm Connor Nolan, I do not want the conversation to be.
I want the reps. Yeah.
to start.
Maybe I will, maybe I won't.
I
There
won't
will
too.
be some rotation, and he will not get the bulk. Whoever the starter is won't get the bulk of the reps. They will still continue to try to evaluate and still continue to rotate and split those reps in practice, which I think is a detriment to whoever it is you eventually end up committing to, because they won't have the right type of preparation that they need. That's what you're speaking
That's
to.
what I'm speaking to.
That's what you're speaking to, is making sure that they're in the right position to be successful, having that preparation, having those opportunities to get some extra reps in with, quarterback to wide receiver, quarterback to center exchange, run fits. If I do scramble and I feel comfortable scrambling, where is it that I do scramble? I can expect to get an opening to come through, so I know exactly where to go. Where are my reads? All of these different things. And you would much rather have an experience. Everybody in the country would much rather have a quarterback with experience and athleticism, in the fortitude and the confidence to be able to go and execute what they're being asked to do. Everybody wants that. Not everybody has it. We just happen to be one of those teams that does not have it.
Mm-hmm. So to kind of wrap this thing up, eventually we're probably going to open this up, get a Twitter put together, and get some questions so everybody can kind of, we'll get a hashtag so people can ask us questions, and I can present the questions out to you guys. But like I said, we're going to do this probably quarterly. So the next 3 games, I know they're going to be rough 3 games, but what are you guys looking for specifically the next 3 games?
I just want to see them be competitive. I mean, I'm just keeping it just as minimal as I possibly can. Can you stick together through adversity? And do we? I mean, is this a situation where you see guys that pull together and rally, or is this where you see guys fighting on the sidelines? Is this where you see coaches and players getting into conflicts? Is this where you're seeing guys saying they're stepping away from the program? Mm-hmm. Because these are all things that could potentially happen when it goes bad, when things go south, when it's getting kind of rough. Can you hold together and can you be competitive? Because we talked about it. We really didn't talk about it a lot, right? You think about the situation with the boos that came out, in the second half with the coach making, Coach Morris making the decision to stick with Kelly and things like that. And then there was obviously some disdain amongst players about that. But, and so I get it. Yes, you should definitely be somebody that stands there beside your player no matter what. That is the right thing to do. But you also have to realize that in this day and age, we didn't play in the 21st century, right? We didn't play sports in the 21st century, and we didn't. Well, we did not in this future, like all the way in the 21st century, in the age of social media, so to speak. Rather, let me put it like that: in the age of social media, where the world is a lot smaller, and people have so much access to you, so you're going to hear a lot of negative, whether it's on the field or whether it's off on Twitter, on Facebook, somewhere like that. You're going to hear that. Those things you have to be ready to deal with. And you have to be ready to bring yourself together and be ready to manage through that adversity as best as you possibly can. That's something they're going to have to figure out, because it's not – if your play doesn't change, it's not going to get any better in that aspect. So that's something they have to be ready for. That's what I'm looking for. Can they do that?
Same thing, passion. They've got to fight. And the booing – now you'll know the temperature of your team. They have to come together.
Got that us against the world type.
Even at home, it's us against the world.
Yeah, and maybe that's a chip on that develops on the shoulder, and then maybe that's a catalyst to kind of bring them to fortune and bring them together. Is that nobody believes in us but us, because that's probably true right now. Yep. You don't have a lot of believers as far as the outside, people outside of the program is concerned.
And I know I kind of joked about it earlier when we were off air, but Jared Cornelius coming out and making the statement, don't be booing your quarterback. Like, we're all in this together. That's my brother. That's somebody's son. Yeah. Yes. I did like seeing that.
Right thing to
just
say. Yeah.
And from your captain.
Absolutely.
And some people were like joking about it, but I'm like, hey, that's what you want.
Yeah.
I mean, at the end of the day, you need somebody to stand up and say, and you know what? It's not like he's killing it on the field either.
Yeah.
But he's up there saying, that's my dude. I care about him. That's my brother. I'm going to war with that guy every day.
But he's got to. Him and the entire team have to know that and expect that. That's what's going to happen. Mm-hmm. That's not just here. That's not just something all of a sudden. You're not going to have 70,000 to 80,000 at a game that are all these these great diehard fans that are going to love you regardless. That is not going to happen. You're going to have some people that are going to be happy with you when things are going good, and they're going to tell you about it, and they're going to be upset at you when it's going bad, and they're going to tell you about it. And that's usually the general fan period as a whole. That's not anything that's just unique to what we're dealing with. Those teams, I imagine that you're hearing the same thing in Nebraska. I imagine you're hearing the same thing at Florida State.
Yes.
Where the expectations in those programs are probably even higher than they are here as far as we're concerned.
I couldn't imagine being Willie Taggart right now.
Yeah, so that's not a unique situation that we're dealing with as far as that's concerned. And those players need to be ready with that. And forget about, you can't control what somebody else is doing. There's nothing you can do about it. What you can control is your reaction to it and what is it you do about it, right? There's a reason why people are born. And then let's get to that, right? And then, don't worry, but you got to be able to shut all those things out. And I applaud him for standing by his guy, but they have to be ready and willing and prepared to be able to deal with that, because that's exactly what it's going to be moving forward if nothing changes.
Yeah, the rally cry has been sounded. In saying that, I appreciate you guys coming in and having the conversation. I appreciate you all listening. For Gerald Howard and Raymond House, this is Chris Gogol signing off. Have a good one.